So here's the hard part. You didn't lose her. You lost the story you wrapped around her. You saw a fantasy, and she played along, maybe because it kept things smooth, maybe because it was easier, or maybe because she cared and didn't want to break your illusion too soon. But when she stopped performing the role you scripted for her, you felt betrayed. You called her cold. You said she changed. But maybe she didn't change at all. Maybe she just stopped acting. And that's the moment the illusion cracks, because now you remember little things, subtle shifts, the way she smiled at you, beautiful, yes, but with something beneath it, something calculating. Not evil, just aware. The way she responded to your mood before you even spoke a word. You thought it was magic, intuition. But for her, it was survival. It was awareness honed over a lifetime of reading the room, because the room never gave her permission to speak directly. She learned to see what others missed, not because she wanted to manipulate you, but because that's what the world taught her to do to stay safe, to stay powerful. And now you're finally starting to see it. This was never about blame. It's about waking up, about peeling off the layers and confronting the world and yourself without the romantic fog. See, we live in a culture where love is sold like a drug. Just surrender, it says. Just fall. Just give everything. But behind the scenes, love is often not surrender. It's leverage. We say vulnerability is a virtue, but in practice, vulnerability becomes currency, a way to trade closeness for control. You open up to her, thinking you're building trust, thinking you're showing strength, and she listens. And again, this isn't villainy. This is instinct, because every tear you share, every fear you confess, paints a clearer picture of where your center is. And once she knows where it is, she can place herself there, quietly, permanently, not to hurt you, but to matter to you, to become irreplaceable. Because in a world where direct power is still denied, psychological power becomes the game. Nature saw all of this. He didn't look away from it. He didn't sugarcoat it. He studied it. He wrote about it with brutal honesty. And what he uncovered is this. Love, real love, is rarely mutual in the way we imagine. It's rarely two souls dancing in perfect harmony. More often, it's a dance of power. One leads, one follows. One needs, one withholds. And the one who needs less controls more. You give her everything. Time, attention, emotional transparency. You call it honesty. She gives you enough to keep you wanting, just enough. That's not coldness, that's design. And we call that connection? No, that's choreography. It's a silent, mutual arrangement that nobody dares name. And it works, because she was taught to lead without looking like she's leading, and you were taught to follow while thinking you're in charge. Again, this isn't her fault. It's not even your fault. It's the residue of centuries of conditioning. For generations, men dominated the outside world. Land, money, politics. Women, they learned to dominate the inside world. Emotion, psychology, identity. So now, here in modern relationships, both of you show up already trained by invisible systems, and men walk right into the trap, smiling. She doesn't need to argue. She needs to suggest. She doesn't need to demand. She only needs to desire. And when she does, you move. You shape yourself. You compromise, not because she forces you, but because you want to please her. And that's not manipulation. That's mastery. You think she's mysterious? No, she's observant. She's aware. And the reason you don't understand her is because you've never questioned your own myths. You still believe that love is about unity, but she knows that love, at least as it's practiced, is about leverage. And when she pulls away, when she goes quiet, when the texts slow down, when her smile feels just a little too distant, it haunts you. But not because you miss her. You miss the way she made you feel about yourself. She was the mirror that reflected your worth back to you. And now the mirror's gone. And you're left standing there, staring into silence, hoping someone will come along and give you that feeling again. Nah, that sharp-eyed observer of the human soul would put it like this. You never loved her. You loved the way she made you feel about yourself. She was the stage. You were the performer. Now the stage is gone, and all that remains is the truth. She didn't deceive you. She just stopped playing the role you cast her in. You didn't see her for who she was. You saw the idea of her, the dream woman, the savior, the emotional safety net. And when she stepped out of that costume, when she dropped the script, you called her cruel, cold, disloyal. But maybe the real betrayal wasn't hers. Maybe it was yours. You betrayed her by refusing to see her as she truly is, a full, complex, strategic human being. You asked her to be an angel when she was just a woman. Nature never condemned women. He didn't write them off as manipulative or dangerous. What he did do was challenge the way men fantasize about women. He exposed the deep-rooted need many men have, not for a partner, but for a mirror, a muse, a story to believe in. And it's time to stop. If you're still blaming her, you're not ready to grow. But if you're starting to look inward, not with guilt, not with shame, but with clarity, then something powerful can finally begin. Not the end of love, but its transformation. We were all taught that love is the highest virtue, that to love selflessly is the mark of a good man. But what if that selflessness is just another costume? What if behind the poetic words, the grand romantic gestures, there's something else? A quiet, desperate fear. If I don't give everything, she'll leave. So you offer more, you shrink more, you erase parts of yourself to fit the role of the man you think she wants. Not because of love, but because of fear. Fear of being alone, fear of being unworthy, fear of facing yourself without her reflection to hide behind. And while you call it devotion, she feels something else entirely. Control. Not through shouting, not through power moves, through presence, through your orbit around her approval. Because here's what nature whispered when so few dared listen. Love that comes from need, it's never equal. It never will be. She may not ask you to change, but you change anyway. She may not demand your loyalty, but you give it freely. Why? Because you've convinced yourself that her acceptance is your salvation. But she never asked to be your savior. She was just being herself. And you turned her into a mirror. And now that it's cracked, you don't just feel heartbreak, you feel collapse. Because it wasn't her you were protecting. It was the story. If she loves me, I matter. If she stays, I'm whole. But stories are not truth. And when the truth shows up, it doesn't ask for permission. It just arrives. And you either face it or retreat back into the dream.